So I'm going to go ahead on a limb here and try to predict what the two big moments of this episode were and what they meant for episode 5, because it was a pretty shocking ending, having M pull his handgun on Len after reading the note and trying to kill her, and then the after the credits scene where he breaks down and cries and begs for Len not to kill him. Firstly, the note, how he had to read it at exactly, I think it was 1500 hours, so 3 p.m. The fact that he had to read it at a specific time and then he tries to kill Len afterwards, it definitely seems to me that Pito left him a note saying, if you haven't won by this time, kill Len, because it's not worth continuing on past that for whatever reason. That's going to be my prediction. I mean, obviously the note said to kill Len, and he said, I'm sorry for doing it, but I think that would be the reason. Obviously we don't know why that would be the reason, but that's my prediction for that. And the whole idea of him begging to not be killed, the only thing that would make sense from what I could tell would be that he participated in the death game of Season 2. Like, he was a part of that, and maybe there was some death gun bad memories in his mind. Maybe that's why he was so scared. Otherwise, I don't know why he'd be so terrified of dying in a game, unless he had bad memories of this game where he almost died in real life. That's a possibility, but I'm just going to throw my predictions out there because I know people are going to be talking about those two moments. That's what I think, but let's talk about the rest of this episode. Overall, I have to say I did enjoy episode 4 like the past 3 episodes. This definitely wasn't as enjoyable as, say, episodes 2 and 3 for me. This episode had more issues than the past episodes in my opinion, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it was a thoroughly enjoyable episode. The one thing I don't really like about this episode is how Len's reactions to M's kind of strategies are. It's identical to how she was in episode 1, where she was very, like, so enthusiastic and like, oh my god, M, you're the best. And it makes sense. I mean, this battle's only been going on for an hour, so her being, like, very enthusiastic makes sense. And it's how any new player would kind of react. So I don't think it's stupid that she's acting the way she is. However, I feel like there was better ways to maybe refresh her kind of enthusiasm to make it a bit more exciting for the viewer, because we are on episode 4 for the series, even though this match has only been going on for about an hour in their time. That's a bit of an issue for me, but I still really do enjoy the exposition and the info dumping that is present in this battle. How constantly it feels like we're learning more and more about this battle, and how it isn't a one-dimensional Call of Duty shooter where every match feels the same. Really, the person's skills, IRL, and just everything like that actually does play a factor on top of the individual gear. Seeing M's shield that has, like, basically it's like a aircraft carrier armor, more or less, and how it's just so incredibly strong and allows for you to really take cover against a swarm of people on a boat coming towards you. There's a lot of little moments like that, like how they're rolling around dodging the bullets, and the fact that M doesn't need a bullet circle. And I do like how he doesn't have a bullet line whatsoever, which we learned in the first episode. If you have your finger on the trigger, it has a bullet line, but it also has your bullet circle. And I think it's actually a really cool mechanic, because in this world, it makes sense you got aim assists, things like that, but it also allows for the other player to be able to have some way to know that someone is locking onto you. It's actually a really good balancing mechanic. It gives the player a way to have aim assist, but also doesn't make it so overpowered that you just get headshotted from a mile away with no warning. It does give you that laser pointer, which is super cool, but people with real life gun experience in the real world, if they practice enough, as we can see with M in the backstory of having Pito's friend come in and basically test the theory, if someone was good with guns, could they fire without a bullet circle? And absolutely you can, and I like that, because your real world experience, like we saw in episode last week there, where you have like the real army or whatever, and they're using it as kind of like a combat simulation for their real world activities. I really do like how it just makes the VR in this series feel very believable, as in the first SAO anime, it kind of got swept under the rug. You knew it was cool, but it was always focusing on the most simplistic things, whereas this anime is really beating you over the head with the information, and either if you don't like that type of stuff, this isn't going to be an anime for you. But as someone who likes that information and thinks it adds to the kind of depth of the game, it makes it fun. And I do think Len and M make a good team, even though, yes, they did kind of part ways at the end of this episode. It is fun just seeing Len just so nonchalantly humming the song as they're trying to get to their next point. It's just, there's so many little moments of just really cute character moments that, even though it is very tropey and gimmicky, it actually is quite fun. This anime doesn't have the right to be as fun as it is, but it really is. The combat's fun, I do like the characters, and it does have that unpredictability, like when Len gets shot and you're like, okay, I thought they were doing well, and they immediately got shot, but of course it wasn't a fatal blow. there is some unexpectedness to the battles, and I do like how the mechanics really does make this action something that feels like it has depth and things like that. It really does feel good. But the one thing I didn't like was when basically they were camped down on the beach there where the boats were coming in. The way Len was retreating, I wasn't too fond of the animation style that they chose for it. It kind of felt a little just dry and basic. We've seen a lot of really great animation. I just felt like the way she was retreating, it just was a little bare bones for me. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but minus that, I really enjoyed the animation, especially the close-ups on M when he was holding his breath, taking a shot. It looked really clean, really smooth. It was just overall a very visually pleasing episode, even with a few missteps here or there. This was a good episode. Like, I definitely enjoy episodes 2 and 3 more than this episode, but I do like the amount of information being given, how they take breaks from the match to kind of give a little bit of backstory to how M got kind of comfortable with taking shots without the bullet circle. I really do like the mechanics of just the game overall, how it does have a lot of assistance to the player, but you can take your real life skills and implement it to this game. It actually does make this feel like the author understood that this world had a lot of potential, and it feels like he's revealing that potential pretty damn well. I think this episode ended on a really fun note. There was some funny moments after the credits there, definitely with some of the facial expressions, but it does make you really excited to watch episode 5 because it could go in so many directions. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think of this episode? Your favorite moment? Let me know down in that comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, and if you're new, also be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.